let's talk about Steve Hillage, a name that might not come up at the average pub quiz, but more likely in the world of adventurous, boundary-pushing rock music. He's royalty, a guitarist, composer, producer, cosmic traveller. Call him what you will. His career has taken him through Canterbury psychedelia, French space communes, ambient techno and back again. This is the story of a man who plugged in and tuned out. Steve Hillage was born in London in 1951, and like a lot of great musicians, he started at a very young age. He was already playing guitar at 14, soaking up everything from Hendrix to the Beatles, and more than a little bit of jazz. Now, whilst he was still at school, he formed a band called Uriel with keyboardist Dave Stewart and drummer Clive Brooks. They were all basically teenagers obsessed with Cream and Frank Zappa. They did make a one-off album called Unmistakable in 1969. It was a weird, psychedelic and perhaps over-the-top, and it's now a cult classic. Prog Archive said, "Unmistakable is what happens when bright kids take too much LSD and too many music lessons." That's not entirely unfair. But after a short stint at university, Hillage dropped out, with music calling louder than lectures. In 1971, he joined Gong, a short-lived progressive rock outfit, signed to Derham Records. They released Space Shanty in 1972, an album full of whirling guitars and wild cosmic ambition. But it was in 1973 that things got really, galactic. Steve joined the French-British psychedelic collective Gong, led by that mad genius David Allen. Now, Gong were less a band and more a psychedelic soap opera as its sound. They were gnomes, pothead pixies, flying teapots. It was Monty Python meets Sun Ra. Now, Hillage slotted in perfectly. His playing added melodic power and space-age texture to albums like Angel's Egg and You, 2/3 of Gong's legendary Radio Gnome Invisible trilogy. David Allen remarked at the time, "Steve was a silver thread that held the cosmos together." Now, he wasn't just noodling. Hillage made space rock sing. His solos felt like a staircase made of stardust. In 1975, he struck out on his own, but not entirely. His debut solo album, Fish Rises, still had a lot of that Gong DNA. Members of the band played on it, and it had the same freewheeling stone genius energy. But those next few albums would prove Hillage had his own voice. And man, what a powerful one it was. L in 1976 was produced by Todd Rundgren in New York, and this was the breakthrough. It blended funk, rock, Eastern influences and mysticism, and it worked. Melody Maker said, "Steve Hillage is the only man who can make a sitar sound like a spaceship." L included a reimagined version of Donovan's Hurdy-Gurdy Man, and it absolutely soared. Hillage's guitar became a kind of spiritual guide. Then, in 1977, came Motivation Radio, and Green in 1978, and the latter co-produced with synth wizard Mikat Gurordi, who also happened to be Hillage's partner in life and music. These records started to move towards funkier, more electronic territory. The guitars were still there, but so were sequencers, synths and grooves. He was ahead of that curve, again. Now, in the 80s, Hillage shifted gears. The solo album slowed down, but behind the scenes he was busy. He worked more as a producer, most notably with Simple Minds on Sons of Fascination and Sister Feelings Core. His shimmering textures helped shape the band's move towards a more atmospheric, more widescreen sound. Jim Kerr of Simple Minds said, "Steve brought us a sense of depth and drama. He didn't just produce. We felt like he rearranged our atoms." Now, but not bad for a lad from Kent. Then came the 90s, and with its rave culture, most rock guitarists from the 70s ran screaming from house music, but Steve Hillage ran towards it. What would you expect? Together with Mikat Gurordi, he formed System 7, a project that fused ambient techno with Steve's signature guitar style. Now, it wasn't retro, it wasn't nostalgic, it was fresh and forward-looking. They collaborated with The Orb, Derek May, Alex Patterson. Really, the architects of modern electronic music. Alex Patterson from The Orb said, "Steve Hillage? He's our Hendrix with synths." Now, System 7 played the same raves and festivals as The Prodigy and Underworld, and they just fitted in. That shimmering, spiralling guitar had found a new home. In the 2000s, Hillage's career came full circle. He returned to the stage with the Steve Hillage Band, revisiting classic material from L, Green and Fish Rising, and proving that really none of it had aged a single day. And then, of course, he rejoined Gong for a reunion tour in 2006, shortly before David Allen passed the torch. The band played festivals like Glastonbury, where old fans and new ones alike were just mesmerised by the sheer joy of it all. In 2019, he took the Steve Hillage Band back on the road, playing to packed houses of everyone from boomers to beaming Gen Z kids. Yes, some of them were probably on mushrooms, but even sober, it was simply magic. So really, what's the deal with Steve Hillage? Well, he's not just a guitarist. He's a sonic explorer. From psychedelic prog to rave tent euphoria, Hillage has spent over 5 decades pushing at the edges of music. He's done a link between Pink Floyd and Aphex Twin, the guy who made hippie music cool again, then made techno sound spiritual. His guitar just doesn't play notes, it really glows. The Quieters said, "Steve Hillage is the kind of artist who makes you feel like the universe is unfolding, one arpeggio at a time." So next time someone tells you guitar music is dead, just hand them a copy of L, or take them to a System 7 show. Steve Hillage is still out there, somewhere in the cosmos with a Stratocaster in one hand and a synth in the other. And thank the stars for that. Now tell me your stories involving Steve Hillage, and also which of his albums do you like the best. Now, I shot a video about a band that Steve was a member of, and that's the one I want you to watch next. I'll see you over there.